Hi. Hello. It's me, Aaron. Doctor Who: The Timeless Children was was a doozy. It was a doozy. It was. It's really hard to talk about this episode. One, because it's so different from the first part, which I did expect, but it's a bit annoying because I feel like if this had just been a Cyberman story, it could have been a really solid second half to the first part. But essentially, the Cybermen and the Timeless Children are very much separate to me. However, I'm still going to rate them together. So don't. My ranking video that's coming up soon. I have no idea how I'm going to do that. So where do I start? There's so many things happened. I guess I will start with the biggest reveal is that the Doctor is a timeless child. The title of the Timeless Children, I guess, was referring to the amount of lives he's had, and that brief meeting of her and Ruth, or the fugitive Doctor, which I think is a cool name for her. I guess it's like, oh, there's two of them, so Timeless Children. I just honestly think it's because the Timeless Children, I think, is a cooler sounding name than the Timeless Child. I don't mind it, but to be fair, this has only just been introduced, and I very much expect Series 13 for us to learn more about her position as the Timeless Child. I thought the backstory to the Time Lords was really cool. I liked that with Tuctian, I think, was the explorer / scientist's name. Tuctian is the name I'm going to say first the video, though, so I'm sorry if it's wrong. And I felt like it was a suitable way for the Time Lords, which weren't really that nice of a species overall, to get their start. They basically stole it from another race, a member of a different race, and then brainwashed that person to believe that they were just like everyone else, when in fact they were like, I mean, if they'd known, they would have been like the messiah to the Time Lords, because they basically started them off. Which I guess explains Ruth. Although I'm personally predict that perhaps we're going to get a less obvious explanation with Ruth, because it doesn't make sense for a Doctor pre-Hartnell to have a police box and go by the name of the Doctor. And I think I much prefer the narrative of, yes, the Doctor as an actual being has many more lives that we haven't seen. I still like the idea that William Hartnell was the first Doctor. Like, he was the first person in this new life cycle who finally was like, no, I'm not gonna comply, I'm not gonna be part of Gallifrey, I'm not gonna be part of the Time Lords. Not because he knew who he was, just because he didn't want to do it. And in my head, I can imagine perhaps they would reset him every 13 regenerations to become a child again and basically live a new life as a new person. However, my headcanon is that they would always the same thing would happen. That, after their first body or their second, they'd get taken into the division, and they'd live their life like the last couple of times they had, as if they were a new person. I still think Ruth could work as a Doctor between 2 and 3, who maybe somehow found out about... Okay, I guess, actually, maybe that does work. This is just theory time, so I'm sorry if this goes on for a long time. But it could be Ruth was between 2 and 3, joined the division in unusual circumstances, but still sort of kept up the cycle going of the Doctor or the Timeless Child joining the division, and then does something none of the other previous cycles did, and it's like, I don't want to be part of this anymore, bye, I'm out. And then to perhaps avoid any trouble, and because it's easier than, maybe it was easier than starting again, I don't know, they just wipe that regeneration from the Doctor's mind, give them an extra regeneration, so when they get to Matt Smith, they're not just like, I'm missing one. And yeah, that's my headcanon. And honestly, I'm quite worried we'll never see Ruth again. I really hope we do. But we may never see her again, and that may just be an enigma that's never solved. If it isn't, then that's what I believe happened. Also, with this revelation, it does mean they can just keep the Doctor going forever now, because they can go with the excuse of, when the Time Lords gave him back his extra regenerations in the time of the Doctor, they just unlocked the Doctor's ability to constantly regenerate that he had at birth. I don't know. I'm making palm trees out of coconuts here, like, because again, this episode. What I like about this episode is it doesn't tell you everything, and I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't get it." Well, you're not meant to get it. Like, going into this, Chris Chibnall said you're going to have more questions, like, after you get answers. So, overall, I don't mind the timeless child aspect. I just hope I just really hope they don't abandon it, because if after this season they completely abandon that plot line and it ends up not playing into the Doctor at all, I'll be really upset. But I like that it gives the Doctor complete mystery. I like that it now means the Doctor doesn't know where she comes from. She doesn't know who she is, doesn't know where she comes from. Doesn't know we don't know how old she is now. We were just like 2,000 years old. I guess at this point, I mean, for all we know, if she's been around at the beginning of Gallifreyan society, then I don't know. Hang on. Let me see if I can Google how long the Gallifreyans were around for. Or not Gallifreyan Society, I guess Time Lord Society. Okay, so apparently the Time Lords were around about 10 million years. So... And as the first Time Lord was Tuctaean, who got their power from the Timeless Child, aka the Doctor, that basically means, if TARDIS Wiki is to be believed, which it probably shouldn't be, the Doctor is about 10 million years old. However, he can only remember about 2,000 years of it, which is a very minuscule amount. So, I guess she's probably... I think one of the reasons she's, like, having this crisis, like, when she's in the Matrix, is, like, I have millions of years, I have no idea what I was doing. And it's kind of an even more drastic form of regeneration, because it isn't like regular regeneration. There you get a new body, a new personality, but you keep your memories. Even though I do like the idea that, David Tennant / the 10th Doctor gave of, like, it is a bit like dying, because a new person just walks off with your memories, but it isn't technically you. So this is even worse, because, like, after 13 bodies, everything gets erased. You even get regressed to a child, so you literally start again. Which also means the Doctor doesn't have total accountability, in a way, because that's another thing. I guess another thing is that the Doctor isn't necessarily the Timeless Child. It's just that this cycle of the Timeless Child is called the Doctor. Like when the Doctor was, like, sort of almost talking to themselves as a we, it's because the Doctor isn't just talking to the Doctor, she's talking to all the other cycles from the Timeless Child. So I don't know. I'm saying really confusing things, but that's because the Timeless Child is a confusing idea, to be honest. Which is why I want to learn a bit more. Not too much. I don't want it to be... the Time Lords become bad when you start to learn too much about them. So I don't want to learn everything about that. But now the times with Doctor Who actually, like, really makes sense again. The way that makes the most sense it's ever made in the modern series, the title Doctor Who, because we have no idea who the Doctor comes from. We have no idea what her species is, because she's not a Time Lord. She created the Time Lords, but she isn't one. So I have no idea what she is. I have a hair on me. So the Master is back. Obviously, there's no explanation as to how he escaped the end of Spyfall, but, like, okay, whatever. Of all his, like, oh, he's definitely not going to come back, him being trapped in the Kasavan realm wasn't the most convincing. Like, I was like, of course he's going to escape. I mean, he worked with them for God knows how long. He would have been able to think of a way to get out. I mean, the Doctor managed to get out accidentally, so... Sacha Dhawan was really good. I really liked him. He still gives a great performance. He really falls into the role. I love him, how he laughs. He has some amazing bits here when he's like, go on, ask me why I did this. Why do you do this? I'm not telling. That was good. I thought one of my favourite lines was when he was talking about his rage, knowing that a little part of him is because of the Doctor. So it's like he wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the Doctor. He is basically the Doctor's descendant. So I almost like that might even be one of the explanations as to why this incarnation seems to have eternal rage, is like more than most, I think, because he's learned that the person his like biggest enemy in the world, and this incarnation, the one he can't seem to stand at all, the Doctor, created him. So it's a weird, and also the bit I also liked when he shrunk a shard, um, and then was like, I took a gamble. There was a chance that was just going to set off and kill me, and he was like annoyed that he didn't die. So despite him having these total plans, the fact that it seems deep down he's on, like, he literally was disappointed that he survived. So I think it's also self-hatred now. I think that's it, because he hates the Doctor, and now he hates himself because a part of him is the Doctor. Although maybe he's always hated himself, I don't know. And it's just, I think, I'm very much looking forward to his next appearance, and there's no way he's going to regenerate. If you listen to the end of, I'm not able to hear a telly now, sorry about background noise. If you listen to the end of that thing, he goes, through here now, so he probably escaped Gallifrey on a TARDIS but the thing is, the idea that implies that he escaped with some of the Cyber Lords. I don't care what you call them. I think they call them the Cyber Masters in the episode. They are Cyber Lords. That just makes sense. I don't care. My boyfriend said Cyber Masters is better. Wrong, incorrect opinion, sir. The Shard Cyberman being killed so easily was good and bad. It was good because it sort of built up like the Master is this like threat, and it's like bam, the Shard's gone. But also, we literally had 2 episodes building up to like a Shard's plan. So for him to just be like so quickly killed with real no dramatics, it was like, oh, okay. I will say the death particle thing wasn't explained very well in the whole, oh, there's a myth. And I was like, didn't a Shard just turn up? How was there a myth about him? So I didn't get that. I liked that we've got to fight, because I was still a bit weary about the whole Siberium getting sent to the past, but I liked they explained that Kashamus' sort of band of fugitives were the one that sent that into the past. Because I was actually like, when did they send it and who? Not sure when Captain Jack comes into it, but considering he's probably going to be in the Christmas special / New Year special, I hope he'll at least have an offhand mention as to what his importance in that was, because he knew of the fugitives, he knew of the Siberium getting sent back, he knew of the lone Cyberman, he knew what he wanted. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll do a timey-wimey thing. Maybe, well, actually, they can't, because I was going to say, if the companions, I was going to say maybe they can have like a Jack meets them and then is told by the Doctor he has to go back and send him warning, but then I don't know. That probably won't happen, but I just want a reference. I want some sort of clarity. The actual Cybermen generally, once again, basically reduced to an army, which is a bit annoying. But so we find out what a Shard and the 2 Cybermen were doing to the new warriors was basically stripping them of organic parts, it seems. He obviously didn't do it to all of them, but he did it to those first ones, because he thinks total automation is the way to go. And I really liked that the Master was like, robots, you're turning yourself into robots. And I'm very glad that plan didn't go through, because then you just remove anything interesting about the Cybermen by turning them into robots. But then the Master's idea to basically fuse them with Time Lord bodies, because I guess even though they're dead, they can still use the matter to make them, again, Cyber Lords, what they should be called. I liked the Cyber Lord design as well. I can sort of go into more detail now. The new Cyber Warrior design I really love. I love that it uses the sort of the chest unit from the Nightmare and Silver ones, just a bit more streamlined, and the rest of it's all new, basically. I think it's a cool way of being like, yeah, this is an upgraded design. It wasn't just the Cybermen just went, you know what, let's just change our aesthetics today. I liked the invasion head. I liked the light on the top. I think the blue light on the chest works better on these ones, and I think it's just because the way the light is done is better. I actually like the spikes. I like the streamlinedness. I don't know, it feels more like someone in a suit, like a corpse in a suit, rather than the Nightmare and Silver ones that really just feel like robots. And then the Cyber Lords, one of the reasons I also think they're going to come back is they made, unless they used camera trickery, They made quite a few suits of those, and it would be really weird they only appeared in like 2 scenes. So I think we will see the Master and the Cyberlords come back. Maybe not series 13. I think if the Jodie does 2 more seasons, I think it'll be in season 14. But if she doesn't, I think they'll probably turn in series 13. I want to see them again because I think their black like cloaks are cool. I liked the Gallifreyan writing on the helmet. I like the weird collar thing. It felt like that comic they had where Rassilon teamed up with the Cybermen to like take down Gallifrey. Although from what I've heard, spoilers for that comic, I guess at the end of it, apparently it's all just sort of wiped out and none of it happened. So, but yeah, so that's cool. I liked them and I'm excited. And they also seem like a powerful threat. It seems like when the Daleks and the Magician's Apprentice and the Witch's Familiar got the ability to regenerate, just to die. I hope that having Cybermen that can regenerate, I hope that this sort of small band of Cyberlords does come back. Even if it's just 2 of them, even if the Master, because I don't know how, in the like 5 seconds between Kashama's pressing the button and the death particle going off, you know, I'm not sure, you know, how you could get like, 12 Cyberlords and the Master into a TARDIS. But maybe 2. Also, I kept thinking about, like, wait, why does the death particle only do in this planet? And then I remembered they shrunk it. So apparently shrinking it means it has less of a radius? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. The companions, the fam, were decent when we saw them, but they weren't a mainstay of this episode. They weren't the focus. I thought Yazid Graham's conversation was really good. I actually didn't find Ryan annoying this episode. I thought him, Kashamas, and Ethan were quite a good trio. I felt bad for the human that died at the beginning, but then she was the only one of them that did die. I think we should have lost Ethan. I don't know. I mean, in the end, only 3 humans survived. But I think only losing that one human in the beginning and then Kashamas, who sacrifices himself at the end, I think it wasn't... I don't know, I think there should have been more stakes, really, when it comes to death. I'm sort of trying to round up things and collect any little ideas that I haven't mentioned yet. I hope we don't see Gallifrey again, and I'm hoping the death particle going off, because that is any organic life. That's plants, that's trees, that's everything. All bodies. It's literally just going to be an empty planet now, full of metal structures. I really just think Gallifrey should go now. I don't think we should see Gallifrey again. I think its time is over. I don't necessarily mean get rid of the Time Lords, because you still have the Master, and there are going to still be Time Lords out there who weren't on Gallifrey when the Master destroyed it. So, you know, the Rani. Oh, the ending. I think the Companions being dropped off home, there'll probably be a time gap between this and the next special for them. I thought the cliffhanger was so surprising. When the Doctor just takes a breather, then the alarms go off, then the Jadoon turn up. I'm getting a bit sick of, in Chibnall era, just random people being able to get into the TARDIS. Because the Kablam man could do it. Apparently the Jadoon can do it. So apparently the TARDIS isn't that sacred after all. Apparently it's not that indestructible or impenetrable. And they're like, oh, cold case. And then lock her up for life, apparently. Bit convenient that, considering for all we know, this Ruth thing happened millions of years ago, that the Jadoon just suddenly go, oh, remember, here's this cold case, let's track you down. So I'm assuming that also means that any Jadoon so in the Jadoon's personal timeline, any Jadoon encounters with the Doctor, apart from Fugitive and the Timeless Children, I'm guessing must come before Fugitive and the Timeless Children. I guess that, and it doesn't really matter, because it's not like the Jadoon's personal timeline is something that fans are going to go crazy about. At least I don't think anyway. See, that's just how I justify it. That all the Jadoon the Doctor encountered previously had not yet gone through Fugitive with the Jadoon, so that's why they didn't give a toss about her being the Doctor. I guess it wasn't the same captain. They say cold case. It's the same costume, obviously, just with the horn attached, but it was just nice to see the Jadoon again, which maybe means we might get a Jadoon cameo in Revolution of the Daleks. And that would be probably the only non-major threat to appear in multiple episodes of this era, which is what I want. I want the Ood and the Slovene and the Jadoon. I want things like that just sort of turn up every now and then. Not like every episode that's like, let's throw out the Jadoon costume because it's like around, or let's throw out the Ood costume because it's around. But like actually like have little moments. Like I thought it was a great, I don't know, I'm just really hoping Jadoon have a minor cameo in Revolution of the Daleks. Oh, exciting title as well. But yeah, that was a good cliffhanger. I'm almost certain that Jack will have something to do with the Doctor getting out of prison. I think that just is an obvious thing to do. And yeah. This episode, I think I haven't really talked much about the quality of the episode because so much happens. Like, it's mainly dialogue, there isn't a lot of action. The Doctor is stuck in a pod for like half the story. But I still quite enjoyed it. I just think my issue is most of the story is delivered through dialogue with absolutely nothing happening. Most egregious example is that the Doctor goes up to the ship to find the Master after he's buggered off from the Gallifrey, and then she comes back down to meet him where he left her. So where's the Master been during that? When she went up to the ship and back down, was he just wandering around Gallifrey? Where was he? Like, it just felt like a waste of time. I think I'm going to give this story an 8. I'm pretty sure Revolution of the Daleks, even though it's going to be basically square between Series 12 and 13, is going to be more of an epilogue for Series 12 than it is a prologue for Series 13. So I almost feel like I can't yet judge the whole series because I haven't yet got the final piece of the puzzle. That's how my opinion works anyway. So, I don't know. I might hold off a series ranking of every season until next year. But I'm very excited for Revolution of the Daleks. It's a great title. Makes me miss even more that Resolution isn't called Resolution of the Daleks. And it's another jam-packed episode because you've got the Daleks, you've got resolving the cliffhanger with the Doctor, you've got the fan back. I'm pretty sure you've got Captain Jack back. No spoilers, but I think there's a possibility it might actually link directly to Resolution. And there's the title Revolution? Revolution. I don't know. I'm hoping that means we're gonna get maybe like a Dalek Civil War thing again, because I personally like that idea. But then it could just be like a generic, like the Daleks are attacking, I don't know, Revolution, I don't know. But I will see you guys another day. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And my hair looks lovely in this light. I'm going to go eat lunch and record another video and then edit a video and then do my coursework and then maybe find a new editing software and then edit another video 5 times after that and maybe do some more homework. So I don't know what I'm going to do. Please help me, please help me, please help me.